see there's something hidden behind you. I think I know what it is, but
yeah. It is lights out and away we go. Hello, racers. Welcome to episode 30 of the Harder Soft F1 podcast. We are back. We took a week off for various reasons. You know, we don't have to go super deep into detail, but you know, it was an off week, the first of 2 off weeks. You know, so we had a whole extra week to prepare for Singapore, and also we were just like extremely super busy with our work schedules. So we just decided to take an off week. So all is good. We're still super pumped about the show and super pumped about Singapore, which brings me to my co-host, RJ McCullough. What's up, RJ?
Adrian, nice to talk to you again. As you can see, I was taking this time to fly to Singapore. I've got the nicest hotel room with the nicest background. So I'm just perched up here, just waiting for the race to start. Yeah, the lights are just static in the background for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, it's we had a little week off there, but we don't need to go into that. But yeah, great time of the sporting calendar.
Yes.
Okay, we got
you look like
wrapping up.
You look like you're sitting on the corner of a building.
I am. I'm perched up here. Luckily, there's no wind yet, but it's just a matter of time. I mean, we'll get into the weather report in a little bit, but I don't know. So bear with me in case there's anything that goes on in the background. I see before we start, I'm just going to spoil yours. I see you have a background as well. Would you like to show that off? Or do you want to wait?
Yes. We can, so that I won't have to stay completely perched up perfectly the whole show. I guess this is the sort of news that we can open with. A certain driver announced that he would not be returning next year, and that is Nicholas Latifi.
Oh, no.
He's gone. The GOAT is leaving us.
GOATifi.
F1 F1 is going to lose a legend. I mean, we'll always remember that one purple sector he had.
Oh baby! If there's anything, that was exciting. All of F1 Twitter was a buzz for about 30 seconds, and thankfully your camera flipped the RIP, so it now looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It says, but people just have to use their imagination that the RIP is flipped.
Wait,
it mirrors it, I guess.
Wait, it's flipped?
Yeah, it says like PIR.
Okay, hold on. No. Because before the show started, I had it and it was mirrored to me, and I was like, "Oh, I have to mirror that now." So I went into Photoshop and I had to just completely change it. So let me fix that. I actually have the correct version here.
Oh, okay.
You can see.
You can
see my room.
Ooh, wonderful. Yeah, I'm at the office.
Yes.
The background. Didn't want to show off too much of the office here. I'm in someone's office, sneaking in here. So there it is. The GOATifi. May he.
It's backwards to me.
And it looks great to me. We'll see how it comes out in the actual video. But may his Formula One career rest in peace. He will no longer be racing as of next year. And we'll get to some rumor roundups in a bit. Pretty much, we've got some news we're going to go through. We've got some rumors, and then we're going to go Singapore GP. So yeah, Latifi is out for 2023. That was just announced this week. And I mean, I don't think there's really much to add other than Nick DeVries just absolutely dominating him in his first time in an F1 quali and race and just obliterating him. I don't think you can really come back from that. So yes, he had that one purple sector. He had points in Hungary last year after Bottas bowled through the whole field. But he still did it. I think he had points in the rained out Belgian Grand Prix last year. And he got to meet me in Montreal this year. So those, I would say, are his career highlights. But yeah, I mean, it's, as a Canadian, it's a little bit unfortunate, but it's also kind of like if you're going to have a Canadian up there, I'd rather have someone representing us in a better way. Not that he doesn't represent as a human well, but on the racetrack, I'd rather have someone that's a bit better of a driver to represent Canada. So I guess it's just Lance now, even though he's not the best either. But you know what? We'll take it. Other people are out there that deserve a drive.
Oh,
but
yeah.
do you have anything you want to add on Latifi?
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot that you met him. But yeah, I mean, we make jokes, but I mean, yeah, he's a super nice guy off the track. He's just seems like a really well-rounded guy, and just from what we've seen in interviews, he just seems like a really, really like likable, friendly guy. So, this is like all in good fun, but I mean, there's really no debating the race stats. So, I mean, we won't. I'm not going to dunk on him too hard, but I think everybody saw this coming, especially after Nick's absolute like impressive drive, like absolutely amazing drive from Monza. So, yeah, I mean, we don't actually have confirmation yet if Albon is going to be in good enough health for Singapore, so we may see him again. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess Debris is there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's taking the flight there.
Yeah.
I think we both. I don't know if we should admit this considering we have an F1 podcast, but we both thought originally that this race was last weekend.
Yeah.
But I think it was originally the Russian Grand Prix. So hey, we're lucky that we're happy it's this weekend. We got Japan next weekend. Let's hope that Max can hold off on his title until COTA. If he's going to winning in the US would be nice. Then he would always have nice memory of the United States.
That'd be sick.
But yeah, on the other end of Latifi being out, we have two guys that are back for 2023. I'll start with Zhou Guanyu. He has been re-upped by Alfa Romeo. I mean, sort of a no-brainer. He's started a little bit slow when the Alpha car was actually doing well, when Bottas was getting points every race. But obviously it's a steep learning curve from anywhere to F1, but F2 to F3 is a lot different. So yeah, a bit of a slow start, but he's come on lately. Pretty much, I mean, since that horrible crash that he somehow just walked away from,
Right.
He's really come on, and he's been doing well. He had points last race, and yeah, it's only his first year, so I think it's kind of a no-brainer. But happy to see Zhou Guanyu, especially going into. Makes sense they announce it now, considering they're going through the Singapore and then Japan. So yeah, what do you think about Alfa Romeo locking up they're one of the only teams, well, not one of the only, but they're one of the teams that have both their drivers committed going into next year.
Right. It makes sense. I mean, he's done a really impressive job, and God, yeah, you bring up that crash, like that's still just thinking about it, so insane that he just was able to just walk away from that. But it makes complete sense. I mean, I don't know why Alfa Romeo would sign someone else or risk, trying another rookie when he's been putting in pretty good results. I mean, I do feel for him and Bottas because that fucking car just does not seem to make it to the end of the race. I mean, it just explodes. I mean, Bottas he's finished some races, but I mean, he is just the DNFs, they just keep happening to both of them. So hopefully they are able to get their reliability issues worked out, because they've got a decent car. I mean, when the thing actually makes it to the end, they can put in some good results. So I hope him and Bottas, I think that is like a really underrated driver pairing. And I'm also kind of salty that we don't see more videos of like the two of them together. We see so much Daniel and Lando content. Let me see some Valtteri and Zhou footage. We got to see it.
Yeah. Now I wonder if that's, this might be a little bit ignorant of me. Is that maybe because Zhou, I don't know, this is how his English is. I mean, everything I've seen, it seems like he speaks pretty good English. Yeah. So I was thinking maybe he's just a little bit shy. I don't know, because Bottas obviously is not shy to do content. We've seen him naked quite a few times. So yeah, and I don't know. Maybe that next year, now that he's maybe they just wanted to get settled, get his focus on racing, and then maybe we'll see some more promotional stuff. But yeah, happy to see him back.
Absolutely.
Not too much more to add on that. And then Yuki, this one maybe a little bit more of a surprise, but not crazy surprise. Yuki will also be back for 2023, and I think maybe he hasn't had the best year. He's outperforming Gasly, I think, points wise, but that car just in general this year hasn't been great. But I think Helmut Marko, this is Tsunoda's second year, right?
Yeah.
I think Helmut Marko had a quote, and obviously Alpha Tauri is under the Red Bull umbrella. It's basically the junior program. Helmut Marko had a quote saying that basically drivers need 3 years in F1 to really get used to it and show what they can do. So I think that's kind of a hint that if he doesn't pull it together by the end of the next year, because really, like, if you're not going to make it to Red Bull, or you're not, like, that's sort of what AlphaTauri is there for. They don't really have much of a junior system coming up right now. So, I mean, they used to just put, like, pretty much everyone on the grid, or half the grid, was on a Red Bull junior drive at one point. So that used to be the team coming up, but nothing really much now. So I guess good for Yuki. He has another year to show what he can do. I think he's a little bit on thin ice, but what's your opinion on Mr. Tsunoda?
I think I mean, this will be his third year, like you said, Helmet. I mean, the car is not great. I mean, if he's outperforming Gasly, that shows that he has like some like really undeniable like skill. So it's smart, especially with the possibility of Gasly leaving after this season. It just makes sense because, I mean, if they lose Gasly, then they don't want two rookies, in those cars. So I think Yuki makes just as much sense as Zhou Guanyu to me, for AlphaTauri, that is. But you're right. They need to put in some better results next year, because I think all the resources went to Red Bull this year, because that car is like, it's a slug.
It's a rocket ship. So yeah, compared to the Red Bull, because I mean, at least with the Alfa Romeo, like their DNF issues, like you kind of tie that back to Ferrari having a lot of DNF issues as well. Engine supplier, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really make sense for AlphaTauri's car to be so bad when Red Bull's car is so good. But I mean, I'm sure someone could explain that better than us. But yeah, that's sort of the driver moves we've had. We'll go into the rumors in a bit, but a couple more pieces of news we had. First one I just saw a couple hours ago. It's confirmed that next year and moving forward, or I'm not sure how long, but the foreseeable future, we're going to go from 3 sprint races, which we had this year and last year, to 6 sprint races on the 2023 calendar. I think we might have slightly varying thoughts on this. So what's your opinion? I know you might not like it.
Yeah, I think 3 is the magic number. But with, the increase to 24 races, I could have seen, I don't know, I feel like they could have upped it to like 4. 6 just seems like real excessive. And I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy who's like the head of the FIA, I believe, or I don't know, I need to find his name, but he's the one who's like deciding all of this shit. He clearly is Yes, that is the name. He is clearly prioritizing entertainment over just the rules, because I mean, they clearly want more sprint races because more people are watching qualifying on Friday. They want people to be watching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday instead of some people Friday, most people Saturday, and everyone Sunday. They want that disbursement to be more consistent. So from like a business standpoint and an entertainment standpoint, obviously it makes sense, but it's a sport and it's like the top level of the sport. So I feel like we just need to reel it in, because this guy is talking some crazy shit. He's talking about giving out points during free practice. He's talking about doing even more sprint races, like all this crazy shit. It's like, whoa. I'm not necessarily like hate the idea of 6 sprint races. I'm just afraid of what it might lead to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think like if there's 24 races, maybe like 1 and 4. So that's, if we're having like, it could end up just being like basically maximum 1 a month, 1 every 2 months, kind of the way the calendar ends up breaking down. So yeah, I think if that's like the ties are ever going to go, I don't think it's the end of the world. I do like the formatting of the weekends. Like it does make it a little bit more exciting. Although the sprint races themselves generally aren't very good, and it kind of throws a wrench in just the whole process of what it's supposed to be, like the qualifying into the race.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of leads me to, there's a story that came out about this, and then other changes that they're thinking of implementing that don't sound that bad to me, these ones at least. So there's 3 ideas that were like the main ones. Enabling DRS at the end of lap 1, or after restart laps instead of waiting like 2 full laps and then doing it on the 3rd lap. I'd be okay with that. More actual safety cars instead of virtual safety cars. That one, I think they'd have to kind of tinker with the timing of the races for those, but yeah. And then this one,
this next one.
Yeah, this one, I don't know how you're going to feel with this. Introducing a second qualifying on sprint weekend. Now, I think it's kind of I guess why you would want to do that, because you get to reset the grid for the actual race, but then it kind of diminishes the, what's the point in going all out for the sprint qualifying then? I don't know. I think it's also we're trying to save, fuel and just focus on the environment and all that. I think that's just a big, I don't know. I can't see people really getting up for a sprint quali as opposed to when the quali is actually important. But yeah, I think especially the one that stands out to me there would be enabling DRS after lap 1.
After lap 1 or on lap 1?
I don't think you could do it on lap 1 because
I would hope
really
not.
Just literally starting their cars, getting up. I'd say after lap 1, so on lap 2 as opposed to on lap 3, or when they do a car instead of on the restart lap, it's the next lap you can do it. So basically just moving it up 1 lap quicker. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Some people think you should get rid of DRS altogether. I like DRS. I think it kind of gives everyone else a better chance as opposed to guys running away. So yeah, what do you think of in general? The sprint races, I think it kind of remains to be seen. A new format for that would be nice, but I don't know if the second quality is the answer for that.
Yeah, I personally don't think so. I think I don't know if the DRS 1 lap earlier would be necessarily a bad thing. If the drivers are all for it, then absolutely. I'm trying to go through all the ones that you said. The next one was the more real safety cars. I agree with that. Besides the quali thing, there was another thing that you mentioned I was wanting to comment on, but I can't remember. But I think if they do the sprint qualifying and the race qualifying, then that is going to completely undo what they want. They want people to watch every day, and I think doing more sprints might accomplish that. But if they do all this extra shit, it is going to ruin. I think it is going to ruin everything. Why would you go all out in the first qualifying for 8 points when you can save the car, hope your rival crashes it out? I mean, it is going to be a nightmare. I think that would just end up being more bad than good. And I think the only reason they would do that is because they want 2 races per weekend. That's what it comes down to. They want to watch 2 races. And like you said, logistically, the laps, you think about it, there's upping it to 24 races. These teams cannot, and these drivers, these pit crew, they can't do 2 races. That is, I mean, if they did, that's just too much. I mean, you do 24, you add on 6 for the sprints. If you were to add on an extra quali onto that as well, it's just god damn, holy fuck.
It's a lot. I guess another incentive of it would be if guys have another chance at qualifying after the sprint, then maybe they'll go harder in the sprint because they know if they crash, then they can just re-qualify, a fresh qualifying.
Right.
But there's also the factor of if you do spin your car, you do still have to fix the car. So I don't know. I don't think that one really has much legs, but it was talked about in the meeting apparently. So something.
And
then briefly, I guess we can go over last week. The calendar for next year came out. We mentioned 24 races, the most I've ever had. Let's go through a couple quick dates on there. I don't know. It feels like it's a week or 2 earlier than last year. This year, I should say. So preseason testing in Bahrain, February 23rd to 25th, and then the first race March 5th. So March 5th in Bahrain, the season opens. Miami's back, May 7th, and then not too much before the summer break. Not too much different. The Spa race, July 30th, is the last race before summer break next year, instead of being the first race back. That's a small change, and then Zandvoort is the first race back. So that's a small change. Qatar, however you want to say it. They're about to host the World Cup, and they're getting a F1 race again next year. So I think that kind of knocks out. That is kind of what knocked out South Africa, Kyalami or whatever.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we have Spa back, we have Monaco back, and Vegas is the second, as reported, is the second last race of the year. So it goes like Brazil, Las Vegas, Abu Dhabi. I would love if they could move Abu Dhabi up in the schedule so that it would finish, even if it went like Las Vegas and then Brazil. I think Brazil is the best finishing track, but yeah. So you know what, we got Vegas second last race. The last race here is November 26th. So that's that. 24 races. I mean, it's a lot of races, but I like it. The more the
I do too.
We don't have to worry about traveling. It's nice.
Absolutely. Oh my God. If I was like working with an F1 team, I would look at this and be like, I have no life. I mean, by the time the season ends and you get your break, when the break ends, you're like, I have to do this for 10 and a half months, dude. So I hope that these people are being paid extremely well. I know the drivers are. I hope everybody is accommodated nicely, because I mean, that is insane. Like, does any other sport run this long and has this insane of a schedule? Like, these guys, like, they put literally everything on the line for this. So props to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to imagine this is the most international sport. Like, they're just globetrotting back and forth all over the world. I mean, like, they go to the US and then they go to Europe and then they go to the US and then they go like overseas again, and then they go back to the US and then like from Brazil to the US to Abu Dhabi. Like, it's just they're racking up the miles, but it is what it is. As a fan, again, it's good. But yeah, if you think there's 52 weeks in a year and we got 24 races, like, that's half the year.
That's awesome.
Covered in races, and there's like a couple of months, like you have obviously the month off for summer break, and then you have December, January, February off. So you've got like 4 months off. I mean, it's like pretty much the whole year between March to November is all covered in races. So good for us, but tough for some of the drivers.
Very tough.
But we got a few kind of McLaren related things. One is their new livery, which you sent me today. I've been looking at it right now. It's kind of hard to explain.
I also am.
What's different about it? I think they're calling it like futuristic. It's for the two races, Singapore and Japan. Do you want to try and explain what it looks like for people that are just listening?
Yeah, it's like, I would say it's definitely cyberpunk themed. They've got like strands of pink. I will say that, like, I think like when you look at it in their promo pictures, you're like, oh, that's really cool. But like the longer you look at it, you're like, these colors don't go together very well. Like the orange and blue is like gorgeous, but like, and you throw in pink, it's like a little strange. But I mean, I love when teams change their liveries, so I'm really down for it. But like, it's because they're partnering with I think this is what is this? It's a company called, of course, it's OKX. It's a Bitcoin and crypto company. That's what you said earlier. Yeah, they love those crypto.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm interested to see what it looks like on track, but the suits, like the race suits, are wild. Like it looks. I'm kind of trying to figure out like how the head part of it works. Because it's like a version of them, and then they put a helmet over that, or is that their helmet? Looks like their face. I don't know, but that's cyberpunk for sure. And then it's like a robot face on there. I don't know if that's just in the design or in the drawing or what. But I don't know, but they made the hair look nice on both of them.
They did. I'm curious. Are we sure this is real? Because McLaren hasn't posted this. I'm like, I'm just thinking, how the fuck do you make this like a racing suit? Because they've got like 3D textures on there and shit. If they just like, so what we're looking at, if you're watching the video, you'll see it. But there's like the one arm and one leg is like literally like a robot or like an android, and there's like big pads on it and shit. It's like, how how are they
Like,
going to execute that? But
I
if
can
it's like the
imagine them
arm
doing
and the
that in
leg
the
is
stitching.
like, that'd be sick.
It would be
I hope
sick.
they
Kind of
actually do it.
unnecessary.
If they, it definitely is, but it's cool. If they only have the pink logo in the center, that's the only thing they change, I'm going to be real pissed. But if it looks
I
anything
know.
like that, that's going to be sick.
Well, I was listening to WTF1, and they were discussing this. So if I got fooled by it, they did too.
Oh
So,
shit. So it's
well,
definitely real.
I assume it's real, and we're gonna find out by Thursday or Friday, I guess. So I hope it's
gotta
real.
be.
Obviously, if you're just listening, sorry, you're not gonna get it. But if you're watching the video, you'll understand what we're talking about. It could be really cool. It could also be really lame. So we'll see how much they spend on it. And then just real quick on the McLaren, Danny Rick. Obviously, we were talking about earlier today. It's getting real. It's getting sad that his Formula One career might be over at least for a year. And if he goes for a year, he's probably not coming back. But NASCAR approached him. The company Project 91, I believe it's called, something like that. The team that had Kimi race for them. They officially approached Danny about racing for them. I don't know if it's racing 1 week next year or racing multiple times next year for them, but hopefully we'll at least get to see him race once. If he's not in F1, hopefully we'll get to see him race once in NASCAR or something next year. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of sad, I guess, too, but I mean, I just don't want to lose Danny, you know?
I do. I don't either. Did you see what Gunther commented about Daniel?
Kind of like if he wants to call, he can. That's kind of all I saw. I just saw the headline.
Yeah,
Like,
that was pretty much it. He
aren't they
just kind
supposed
of
to
said,
call him?
"Yeah, right." You'd think
Yeah.
so, but I mean, it's at least he acknowledged that like it would be like even a potential option. You know, I think that is that's got to be Daniel's like only chance, unless he like I've seen like discussions about him becoming like the Mercedes reserve driver because they're losing De Vries, which is potentially hilarious to me. But I mean, they still haven't even let Romain Grosjean drive the car yet. So I mean, how long is it going to take for them to put Daniel in there?
I know. I mean, it's like it would be a risk, but I guess it would keep him around F1. He could do announcing and stuff. But then I guess the hope would be that when Lewis retires, he could take his spot. I don't know. I don't think Lewis is leaving after next year, so I don't know.
No,
It doesn't
unless he wins.
seem to be a perfect unless he wins. But there doesn't really seem to be a perfect option for Danny right now. So we can get into our harder soft rumor roundup. Pew pew pew.
Yeah.
So first, we're gonna go back to Latifi, and then we're gonna circle back on Haas. So who is your idea for replacing Latifi? Like I saw Logan Sargent as the US guy. That name kind of popped up out of nowhere. Neither of us think that really has legs. We could be wrong. We could play this clip back in a few months and be wrong. But as we see behind you, Latifi is no longer alive in the F1 world as of the end of November.
In the F1 world.
The F1 world, yes. So who do you think? Who do you want? What's Adrian Huff's opinion on the Latifi situation?
I mean, it's got to be De Vries. Yeah, I think if AlphaTauri doesn't end up poaching De Vries, then I mean he's either going to AlphaTauri or he's going to Williams. So I think I don't from De Vries' perspective, I would 100% go AlphaTauri, but I mean, we have no idea if he has the talent to like stay long term, especially with like a team like Red Bull. So Williams might be the smarter choice, but from Williams' side, besides De Vries, I mean, do you go with a rookie? Do you go with, like someone from the IndyCar market, or do you go with the F2 rookie? I guess. I mean, like besides De Vries, you've got Sargent and like a handful of other names, but nobody really stands out besides De Vries. So like it's got to be him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like unless he gets poached, I think it's De Vries, and then that makes sense there. But that leads me to the next question: is the last 2 years we've been blessed with endless entertainment from Nikita Mazepin Mazespin, as he was named, and Nicholas Latifi, GOATifi, just every single week, last place. In fact, 21st out of 20 somehow in the standings. And so who do we think is going to be the next worst driver every week? Or will it not be? Will there be no one?
I saw a really, really funny post on the subreddit the other day, and it was Lance Stroll handed the shittiest paid driver award to Latifi. He handed it to Mazepin. Mazepin handed it back to Latifi, so now Latifi is handing it back to Stroll.
Stroll. Oh no, that's what we think, eh?
No, it's no. I mean,
can't have another Canadian.
No, I have such no. I have such weird opinions on Lance Stroll because he's shown promise, but that car is a dumpster. It is a dumpster on wheels. But oh man, besides. I mean, there's not really anybody that is like his level of terrible, you know?
Yeah, I know. Like, I think it'll be car dependent, or like if a rookie comes in. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's going to be anyone. I guess it could be, like if someone has a really shitty car, but like it's not even necessarily the car with these guys, because Albon gets points in the Williams, and so did De Vries. And then in the Haas, like Mick did a lot better than Nikita last year. So I don't know. We'll see who it's going to be. It could be whoever Haas brings in if they replace Mick. So we'll go to that. I think Haas has kind of hinted at either, like, it looks like they're not going to bring back Mick, and they've hinted at either Giovinazzi or Hülkenberg as being the replacement. And if you remember, there was a famous moment between Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, the "suck my balls, mate."
And prøver på udbanen. Once again, most unsportive driver. Suck my balls, mate. Yeah, they're really good, man. Keep doing so.
Yeah, that's I'll put that clip in, but that's good stuff right there.
I gotta watch that back again. It's so good.
So like, I don't know. It seems weird that like we're talking about, you know, De Vries coming in, or these young guys, or, you know, Piastri is going to McLaren, and then instead of just keeping Mick Schumacher, who at least has shown promise, he's not the worst driver on that grid, they're kind of talking about bringing in Hülkenberg or Giovinazzi, who, like, I don't know, Hülkenberg's getting up there in age. He sort of had his chance, I guess, and then Giovinazzi was okay with Alpha, but not great. So yeah, what do you think about Haas right now?
I think it makes no sense to bring Nico or Antonio back. No offense to those guys, but like, they've had their moment, they've had their chance. I just think it's Haas taking a step backwards. And I mean, Mick has 12 points, Kevin has 22. I mean, that's not like the biggest deficit in the world. Mick is 1 point off of Ricciardo, so like he's doing a decent job. I mean, for fuck's sake, you got your first points in years this season. So I don't know. I feel like Gunther is being like kind of an asshole about this whole situation. That, or like there's some serious behind the scenes issues between Mick and Gunther, or Mick and the team, that we're not seeing. Because I mean, Mick seems like, you know, I mean, obviously I know Michael Schumacher was like kind of not, or could be a nightmare to work with, but like I just don't get those vibes from Mick, and it's just so strange to me. And Gunther said last week or something along the lines that it's 50-50 whether they keep Mick. It's just bonkers to me. I feel like, what is this, his second year?
Yeah.
It would have to be.
He was a rookie last year with Nikita, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, because Grosjean's crash happened at the end of 2020. So yeah, he needs his third year. You know, him and Yuki's getting his year. Let's give. I think Mick deserves one more year personally. If it's not going to be Mick, if they've decided, then let's get Daniel. Let's not bring these other guys back. Let's get Daniel.
I would love that. Oh, that would warm my heart. Daniel and Gunther together would just be so great.
Dude, Netflix, somewhere.
Oh my God.
Netflix executives like, hey, can we make this happen?
Yeah. And that'd be amazing. I guess that brings me to the next one, is if we think Gasly is going to Alpine, which I still think gonna happen. I don't know. There's a few differing opinions on that, but then that opens up the AlphaTauri seat. I have no idea who's gonna go there. Do you have any idea?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't see Daniel going there. Maybe the only guy I can think is Mick. Maybe Mick goes over there, but like then he's going to a Red Bull team. But yeah, do they have anyone like Robert Schwartzman, or do they have anyone in their like junior program? I have no idea. But that's one that I just
they had
we know the guy they had.
Yeah,
I think
had
they brought
him,
back,
but
he
he
will not
fucked it up a little bit.
support that.
No. Yeah, besides, I'm sure they're trying to get DeVries. We'll see how that goes. If DeVries ends up to Williams, I think Mick would be a smart choice. But I'm gonna trash Ferrari. Binotto put out a press statement saying that he was sitting down to have a discussion with Mick about his future in F1. And he didn't really elaborate on what that conversation detailed. I just think it's so ridiculous that they need to put out a PR statement about a conversation that's going to happen. But, if that conversation didn't go very well, then definitely he should go to AlphaTauri. But I don't know. I mean, how well could that conversation have already gone? I mean, Haas is talking about dropping him. He's not in the Ferrari driver academy anymore. So that's what makes me think that maybe something happened or something's going on that like we're not super aware of. I mean, it may not even be like a huge deal, but like it has to be something, because there's no reason to just drop this kid who's only in his second year, who has points and is the son of the greatest F1 driver of all time as of right now. So I don't know.
I know.
Makes
no sense. The only thing with that, like, I don't know if they would want to have Mick and Yuki as a team, because like they might want to have someone that's a bit more experienced. I think in the grand scheme it would make more sense for everyone if Gasly just stayed at AlphaTauri and Mick went to Alpine, because he's best friends with Ocon. Gasly and Ocon are well known to not like each other. They don't speak. They've disliked each other since I guess they raced against each other as children. So I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if you can say they hate each other, but they don't like each other, that's for sure. So I think that one makes more sense. But it's all at this point, it's just rumors, but it's like, I don't know, every week there's something new, right? So, but we're going to get anything else on any more rumors or speculation you want to discuss?
I think we covered everything. I mean, I think it's really funny how we just still don't know anything.
I know. It's like we could just have everything wrong. Could be a name that pops up. Like Colton Herta's name came up and it was like, oh, okay, this is going to happen. And then now it's just not happening because of super license stuff, which is ridiculous. But whatever. We are back to racing.
Hopefully by 2024, he can get it.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, especially if we can get Andretti, another team in there. That'd be sweet. Either way. So we got the Singapore Grand Prix, which didn't happen in the last 2 years because of COVID. But yeah, I'll just read this little blurb here. The first Singapore Grand Prix was held in 2008, and there have been 12 races held here at Marina Bay. The last race was held is it called Marina Bay? Anyways, held in 2019. The track has 23 corners. It's 61 laps, a little more than 5 kilometers per lap. It is regarded as one of the more challenging courses in regards to the elements, with temperatures inside the cockpit reaching an excess of 60 degrees Celsius and humidities in excess of 80%. Kevin Magnussen and Haas still hold the lap record here. And Hamilton have done really well here in the past. There's also always been a safety car here, so look out for the safety cars. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but interesting track. Usually like one of the longer races in terms of like actually how long it literally takes. Usually takes just about the full 2 hours. Haven't played this one too much on video games. I'm not too familiar with it.
It's hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost too hard, especially because they haven't done it recently. So I'll quickly go through the race times and the weather, and then we can kind of discuss the race. So the race itself is at 8 a.m. on Sunday. Our time, it's a night race there. Quali is at 9 a.m. Saturday, and then practice 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So yeah, early for practice, but decent for race. And the next week, I think for Japan, it's going to be like 1 or 2 a.m. But yeah, for this week, 8 a.m. on Sunday, that's not too bad. And we have 30 degrees Celsius, so hot. The forecast is thunderstorms, 64% chance of rain, and slight wind. So if we get some rain and some crazy weather, you never know. But yeah, and for Max to clinch, he needs to outscore Charles Leclerc by 22 points, Sergio Perez by 13 points, and George Russell by 6 points to claim the title of Singapore. It would be the earliest win in 20 years, the second earliest in Formula One history. And I also saw somewhere that F1 was posting about like the largest comebacks in F1 history. And strangely enough, this year would be the largest comeback in F1 history from, like, Max already made the largest comeback because he was down like 40 points or something, but that was only after like 2 races.
Right.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the info for Singapore. What do you think about this track, this race? What are you looking forward to? Any thoughts?
It's, yeah, like I said, it's really tough. I can't imagine how miserable it is in that cockpit. I mean, I really hope, Perez especially has had issues with his like water. I know some other drivers have. I could not imagine. I don't even know if you physically could do that race without, being able to drink throughout. So from like a pain standpoint, like that sounds awful, but I'm super excited. Yeah, the weather, it looks like it's going to be some bad weather, but the weather in Singapore seems to be like crazy all the time. I've seen some comments from people that live there, and they're like, the weather can change super quickly, and if it rains and it stops, it'll dry quickly. So it's it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I'm trying to think. The safety car stat is a really interesting aspect. Hamilton and Vettel, I still think about that infamous crash that happened with Kimi and Max and Vettel. Like, that is just iconic. What was the other stat that you said about this track? I'm trying to remember. You were saying it right. Oh, the Haas, the lap holders. Like, that blows my mind. That's crazy. That is something.
And I don't know if we're going to see that change because, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, we won't see a change. You're absolutely right.
Because, the cars, that was when the cars were already a few years into upgrades, and now we're on fresh new cars. So
Yep.
I don't think they're beating the times they used to have. So yeah, good for Magnussen, even though he hasn't won here or anything, but he had a good lap. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see them back. Like, it's a beautiful, like, you can see in the background of my shot here. It's a beautiful like setting. But it sounds like it's going to be just kind of swampy, like whether it rains or thunderstorms or not. Like, it's just so hot and muggy, and like the humidity in the air, even if it's not raining, like the track, I would imagine, is just kind of slick because it's so humid. So yeah, I think we're going to see, we're obviously going to see a safety car at some point. Hopefully this time it'll benefit someone other than Max Verstappen, because pretty much at this point, the only thing I'm hoping for is for Max not to just keep winning every race. And this is one good chance for Lewis to win. This might be Lewis's best chance, unless something crazy happens in another race. So my prediction for this week is Lewis is going to win. I'm obviously going to pick that every week till it happens, but this week I think it actually has a good chance of happening. I just hope Max doesn't. But qualifying should be really, really interesting. The teams have had a few weeks to work on the cars and stuff. So that's my prediction. What do you think? Think it's going to be Max?
Man, I've tried so many times this year to bet against Max and say that I hope for some interesting racing and for Leclerc to have a chance. But if I was putting money on this race, I'm going to say it's all Verstappen. I think it's so, just at the rate that he is dominating right now, I don't know if this championship will last to Coda. I don't think he'll clinch it this week. I think it'll probably be clinched in Japan, which would be a really dope time to announce Honda returning, but probably won't happen. But yeah, it's Max has just been on a fucking tear. But this track doesn't necessarily benefit Red Bull, so I hope, if anything, we just have some good racing. That's all anyone can hope for.
It'd be nice to have a couple cars battling, and then whatever happens. But if someone other than Max is in the lead, and then a safety car benefits Max, and then Max wins, I'll be very upset. But on the topic of Honda and Red Bull, I guess that is a possibility, because now the Porsche Red Bull thing is like completely fallen apart after we spent so much time talking about that. That thing's fallen apart. So hey, maybe Honda can sneak their way back in and mess things up again, only to then come back and win a championship and then drop out again. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds for that? But you're picking Max, I'm picking Lewis. I wouldn't mind seeing Zhou Guanyu doing well these next few weeks. Yuki as well. And that's pretty much it. We got Japan next week. Mick, you want to see Mick do well? I would love to see Mick do well. And hey, Danny, let's have Danny finish strong here. Get a couple. There's 6 races left if you include this one, something like that. So let's have Danny get some points. I mean, there's only so many points that can go around, but and I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens if Albon. I haven't really looked into it, to be honest, the Albon situation, but where's he? His family's from what, like Thailand?
He's I believe, I'm not 100% positive on his Asian part of his nationality, but he is partially British. Yeah, because they talked about that on Drive to Survive, but he registers under his Asian nationality. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what he races under. No, okay. Sorry. We're dealing with a little bit of latency issues, clearly.
That's all good.
But where were we?
Oh, just would this be Albon's home race, do you think? Like, what do you think he considers his home race?
That's a good question. I don't know if I'm sure Silverstone, but besides that, I don't actually know. I can actually Google it. We're talking about it right now. I'll look it up.
As well.
He is Thai.
Okay. That was right.
So he's partially British, partially Thai.
Okay. And I would assume, I don't know world geography that well, I would assume Singapore is relatively close to Thailand, but it's probably a discussion for a different podcast, people that know what they're talking about. But hey, that's why you come here.
I'm looking at the distance. They're kind of far, but like they're in the same country or continent.
Like, would you say Singapore is closer to Thailand or Japan is closer to Thailand?
Probably Singapore for sure.
All right. So yeah, maybe he considers this for his mom. Maybe he considers this his home race, as long as his mom's not in jail again.
I think so. Definitely over Japan. Yeah, Japan's far as fuck. Holy shit.
All right. Yeah, I think we're both very excited for this weekend. I mean, whenever happens, it's nice to be back on track. It feels like that 2 weeks felt like longer than the summer break for some reason. I don't know. I felt like a long 2 weeks off.
Dude, it did.
Really did. But we have taken the time to start our. We've gotten a couple of GPs in our F1 2022. I don't think either of us. Oh, you finished the one sprint race, I think, or maybe the actual race in Imola. We've been having a bit of trouble finishing races. We've been getting a lot of DNS. I'm the Latifi out there, but hey.
Dude, Imola was where I got crashed out.
Oh yeah, you did well in the sprint, and then you crashed out lap 1. And then I did the whole race thinking everyone in front of me was going to pit, and apparently they already pitted, so I finished like 14th out of 16 finishers. But
sad.
It's first year, you gotta get 3 years in to really get your feet under you. So not using flashbacks.
We gotta do tough. 3.
Yeah, no, but you're not allowed to make any mistakes, and we make mistakes. So
yes.
That's this was a fun episode though. As always.
Hell yeah.
You want to go through our socials: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Hard or Soft F1 Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Hard or Soft F1. Go on there, give us a follow. Adrian, give us some last words. My last words are: still we ride. Lewis will get a podium this weekend. Hopefully, we'll win. Adrian, what do you got?
The best of Latifi is yet to come.
Oh no.
Yes, that's it. We'll see y'all next week.